Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the Food for the Faithful channel with me, your ever so reluctant prophet. You're going to be reluctant to listen to what I have to say today. That is, if you do listen, because I know many of you are just jumping through, finding my words too difficult to understand. Perhaps there's something wrong with my syntax and grammar or pronunciation. However, I sincerely doubt it. What we are witnessing with the radical left today is not merely an extension of Marx and Engels' dialectical materialism. The belief that it is that simple is not merely incorrect, but is patently false. Cultural Marxist critical theory is the primary driver of Canadian political policies today. It is a criticism of Marxism. It has turned dialectical materialism into an intersectional struggle. It is no longer the proletariat against the bourgeoisie. It turns Marxism into the context of critical theory, an intersectional struggle which refers to the active, political, and analytical process of addressing how multiple, simultaneous, and interlocking systems of oppression, such as racism, sexism, classism, and heterosexism, shape the lived experiences of marginalized individuals and groups. It is not merely an academic framework for identifying overlapping identities, but a critical praxis, the combination of theory and action designed to disrupt these power dynamics and foster social justice. To those who attempt to debate with me, why don't you understand this? Since this is practically all I discuss on this YouTube channel, I have learned from experts, of which I am not, like doctors Peterson, Hicks, Masson, Sad, and Lindsay, among many others. So if we are to survive culturally and politically, we must first understand why critical theory poses an existential threat to society. Critical theory and postmodern cultural relativism has helped to create the great replacement of mass immigration from countries whose cultures and beliefs are at utter odds with that of ours. But how have these neo-Marxist ideologies gained such a vice-like grip over the prevailing zeitgeist of much of the Western world? Rudi Dutschke, German student leader, SDS guy, in 1967 coined the term the Long March Through the Institutions, right after the chaos of Benno Ohnesorg's killing by police. He meant, forget storming the barricades or waiting for a classic revolution. Instead, infiltrate universities, media, churches, courts, government bureaucracies, slowly, patiently build parallel structures, politicize them from within, and flip them to serve radical change. He borrowed these ideas from Antonio Francesco Gramsci, who was an Italian Marxist philosopher and politician. Gramsci was a founding member and one-time leader of the Italian Communist Party. Also from cultural hegemony ideas, win the culture first, not just the economy, and Herbert Marcuse's repressive tolerance. Don't tolerate the old systems ideas. It was a blueprint for the new left to avoid the failures of 1917-style uprisings in advanced capitalist societies. Modern cultural relativism, R.E. Foucault and Derrida, slots right in with these neo-Marxist revolutionary ideas. Once you're inside the institutions, you must deconstruct truth, deconstruct progress, deconstruct Western values by making them seem arbitrary or oppressive. They assert that no culture is superior, So why defend borders, assimilation, or national identity? Everything is just a power play. That mindset has turned immigration into a moral imperative, not just a policy debate. Critical race theory, building on critical theory roots, adds the racial angle. The West's institutions are claimed to have baked in white supremacy of colonialism and the patriarchy. Borders? Borders are mere tools of racial exclusion. High non-white immigration? This means decolonization, reparations, and dismantling whiteness. Critical race theory, or CRT, doesn't say replace whites. It says the system that privileges them must be undone. And demographic shift is part of the undoing, which is precisely what I am seeing in my own neighborhood here in Ottawa's Findlay Creek. It's unrecognizable. Anything I've experienced other than maybe in North York and Toronto. These toxic ideas enable the great replacement, which the left claims is a conspiracy theory. I have to have another drink of wine. Cheers. Which the left claims is a conspiracy theory, despite the outcomes being undeniable features of many Canadian cities today. Leftist elites, shaped by these ideas, control policy. They fund multiculturalism without any assimilation pressure. They frame opposition as bigotry and racism thanks to CRT's power analysis. They celebrate demographic change as strength or justice. Postmodern relativism erases any defense of the old majority culture. The result? Mass immigration becomes not just tolerated, but accelerated as morally righteous. No secret cabal is needed. Just toxic ideology being placed in the driver's seat. This is what drives the Liberal Party of Canada, and indeed much of the entire political spectrum, which has been infected by idea pathogens which are responsible for destroying Canada's socio-economic structure. It is therefore vital that we understand what we are up against and know what our ideological doppelgangers think, so that we may offer solutions to this deliberate destruction of our cultural heritage. Those possessed by postmodernism and critical theory are the chief reasons that we are witnessing renewed persecution of Jews and Christians, since Judeo-Christian values offer a bulwark of reasoned discourse and spirituality that expose the reason for the left's attack on our sacred institutions. I find it amusing that people who obviously haven't educated themselves on geopolitics, folks who have not studied the history of other nations or even that of their own, people who know nothing of the policies which have forged nations in the past and how these policies might still affect us today, debate with me using sophistry. Moreover, they do not understand the necessary things which must be done to guarantee our mutual survival as sovereign, autonomous nations with our indigenous cultures intact. Our cultures reflect our inherited social and religious values. People who know little to nothing of this think they can lecture me with reasoned discourse rebuttals such as, yes it isn't, or no it isn't, and that was then but this is now. Such a deep analysis. And for those who think that President Trump is the answer to our culture's obsession with these theories, heads up. President Donald J. Trump has resurrected both the Monroe Doctrine and Manifest Destiny policies from the first half of the 19th century, modernized them, and applied them to our present situation to dominate not just the Americas, but far beyond his own backyard, under threat of do as I say or else. And let the sovereignty and self-determination of other nations be damned. What is truly remarkable is that these two aspects of American foreign policy are precisely what forced the British colonies and British North America to unite to become the Dominion of Canada in 1867 to protect us from being subsumed by America. Ignorance abounds because people no longer read history to understand their own past as to how it is affecting our present. I'm finding the alt-right are as committed social revisionists as are the radical left. Both deliberately deny the importance of history and how our historical legacy continues to define our present in ways that most even refuse to consider because they know nothing of them. Please read. Please educate yourself. Please subscribe to this channel. Please debate with me, but avoid using sophistry, or I'll eat you for lunch. God bless you. Have a lovely afternoon.